This ad-spot can be yours for just $3 an episode. Yeah, really, that's all we can afford to pay you.
Hello guys and welcome back to Rated R, Bammsters podcast. Yes, you're obviously talking to Bam himself. Today joining me as well is G-Talk, Draconis and Grid Breather. Yes, we went to Gamescom 2016 in the Germanys. Yes, we sent our very own G-Talk, who's a cripple, to cross country to go have a walk around a gaming convention, which was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. If you're following us on Twitter, G-Talk, say hi.
Hi, people. Thank you for sending me to Gamescom. Well, thanks to Bam for sending me there. And I expect within a few days I can walk again.
You'll never be able to walk again. You never walked before, you'll never walk after. It has nothing to do with Gamescom.
Dude, the place is huge. Like, that's one of the biggest conventions there are for entertainment in general. And it's the biggest games-related one. So, freaking huge. Lots of walking.
So, G, tell me, did you dress up as Jabba the Hutt or something for Gamescom, did you?
Are you asking if I wore my normal clothes? Yes, I did. Side note, I should lose weight.
So with that Jabba costume then, did you wander around with a little slave puppet?
Nope, but I did ask a lot of women if they wanted to follow me around. Does that count?
I guess that depends on whether or not you had any luck.
Yeah, did they?
They ran the other way. Sorry.
Well, then your costume worked.
Oh, definitely.
So what did you actually see? I know you didn't actually get to see CCP because they kept hiding in the business hall.
Well, if we kind of look at what I was supposed to do, very last minute, Gamescom came back and said that we couldn't get press accreditation because having 5 listeners turns out to be not enough. They're a little bit stickly about that thing. So basically everybody in the business areas, they call it hall 2, 3, and 4. No, 2, 3, and 3.2. They were unavailable to us, and that Gamescom is both for business and for public. So some people we didn't meet, such as you say CCP.
Well, I guess that's an advantage as well, because now we have less obligations to actually do any serious reporting.
That is true. I did spend a lot of time hanging out up in the Indie Arena booth. To be quite fair, that was the most interesting part of all of Gamescom. There were 60-something companies showing just in the indie area. And then around the indie area, there were more indies showing off a lot of really nice games, a lot of really interesting ones. For those of us who have small kids, Epistory, nice little game where you actually have to type in words to do things instead of just point and click. It was a really nice little thing.
Was this the one where you couldn't actually type the things in properly because of the keyboard?
Yes, imagine a game where you have to type in words in English and the keyboard was set to German. And for those who don't know, that means the letters Z and Y were swapped around. Fucking hell.
Yes, and you have loads of umlauts as well.
Yeah, well, because the words were in English, I didn't have to type in umlauts because there's not that many diacritics, as they're nicely called, in the English language.
Okay, well, it sounds maybe like an extra challenge.
Oh, that game was a challenge, all right, but it was just the level of storytelling. I'm telling you, 10 minutes in, I think that was the amount I played. There were more story than in all of Destiny.
That's not saying much. I mean, I have a son who's now 11 months old, and he can tell a better story than Destiny.
Those are some pretty big claims, What are your grounds for that one, G? And good.
Well, he's now going through his da phase, and I think he's already telling a better story than Destiny.
Yeah, I'm with you. Destiny wasn't particularly good on the whole story thing, but seeing some of, again, to come back to these indies, seeing what they were doing, the level of focus on story and storytelling, and just the range of storytelling that was going on, the way they were doing it, some with text that showed up randomly across the map, some with characters, some with just more or less grayscale footage, grayscale gameplay that told the story of a landscape and what had gone on around it. Really great games coming out in the indie area. I was really impressed.
Is one of these that Runes game you sent a link for?
Frost Runes, yeah. It was a small tablet game. The thing I mostly was impressed with that one is it's the first game I've seen that tells a story of what runes are and actually get it right. That was amazing because a lot of games just go, ooh, runes are something magical and they do magic stuff. End of story.
Well, aren't they?
Nope. These guys actually went through and told the whole story of how runes were carved into wooden sticks and then thrown at people as a way of throwing magic.
Well, that's a different way of thrown magic, I guess.
Hang on, wait. So you're telling me they made a game where you can throw sticks at people? Dude, I can do that in Newcastle High Street if I wanted to. But I wouldn't be scribbling inscriptions on them. I'd be covering them in dog shit.
Well, I'll just want to, before you guys jump in, I just want to say to Bam that it sounds like even the Vikings are more sophisticated than you are.
Well, in Newcastle, yes. That's mostly true, yes.
Well, and in the game, you don't have to worry about somebody kicking your ass.
Dude, I'm 6'4". Nothing can kick my ass.
You're a flappy 6'4".
Not denying it.
I would throw things at people in Newcastle as well, I think.
Yeah, well, one thing I'd like to say, because I was manning the back-end HQ of Bammsters while G was destroying his feet walking around Germany. And one thing I can say is that the Gamescom site is absurdly horrible, especially in the morning when everybody's looking for which booth to go and visit.
And that's the problem with things these size. You need to plan and you need to know where you're going, because there were hall 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I think 5 through 8 had 2 floors as well. 10 had 2 floors as well, so it takes a while to just figure out which hall to be in and then where in that hall people are.
I think I spent more time when I was looking for things anyway, sitting here in the States, just on IGN's website, looking at the videos and stuff that they'd posted up.
Well, for the second morning, I think this was Friday morning, I believe. I was just sitting at my computer helping G find various companies he wants to go and visit. And I kid you not, it took 5 minutes for the website to return a single search result about which booth a company is in. 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, I can definitely recommend to people to go there. Just check out Gamescom if you get a chance. It's an event in itself, just being there. It's huge, it's noisy. There's a lot of people wearing weird stuff, and I wasn't sure everybody wearing costumes. Some literally just looked like they were wearing underwear and nothing else.
Well, it is Germany.
I think that's typical for many conventions.
And of course, all the oompty music you can stand to listen and then some. Thank you, Wargaming.
I don't think Wargaming's the only one to blame for that. Have you seen Call of Duty's next zombie mod?
Oh no, I stayed away from that. Didn't even bother going near them.
Oh, the video I saw, they advertised it as 80s stars and the Hoff, which, being near Germany, I guess. He's got his popularity there, but it's crazy. It looks like something out of an 80s discotheque or something, with the way that the zombies are dressed and the background neon lighting.
The Hoff was actually there. Literally, Hasselhoff was running around, which I noticed because people kept saying, "Oh, don't hassle the Hoff." It's like, that's a bad joke. Oh, that's why they were doing it.
So, are you basically saying that the next Call of Duty Zombies mod, or whatever they're calling it, will have Knight Rider in it?
From what I was reading, Hasselhoff is in it, as well as Paul Rubens and Seth Green and a few others, but it's just the setting looks funny, but it's called Zombies in Spaceland.
I have a theory. Would you like to hear the theory? The Bam Havoc theory. Tinfoil included for free.
Yes, do indulge us and our listeners, Bam.
Are you sure? Because this is like full-on bacon-covered tinfoil. Right, okay. Think about it this way, right? The only thing good about the Call of Duty franchise right now is zombies, yeah? Their latest video game that they launched, Call of Duty Space Wars, whatever you want to fucking call it nowadays, completely tanked, right? Now, they've been told to go back in time. So they've gone back to the 80s. Not far enough back in time, I think, but they've gone back in time nonetheless. So they are listening to their player base. They've gone back in time instead of putting it into the future with dinosaurs and robot zombies.
Wait, hang on.
Robot Nazi dinosaur zombies. There we go. That are also ninjas and carry katanas.
Hang on, Bam. Are you saying that the next Call of Duty will have disco dancing zombies?
Disco dancing zombies that are also Nazis, dinosaurs, ninjas, and carry katanas. Yes.
Nazi dinosaurs. That's
Nazi dinosaur
vicious.
Robot zombies. There we go.
In disco pants.
In disco pants with bright fuzzy afro orange hair.
One of the zombies did have a green mohawk.
I rest my case. Green mohawk confirms it. For Half-Life 3 confirmed.
It's Half-Life 3. Did you see that poster, G?
Yeah, that was funny. I thought it was Half-Life 3 editors that played it.
Well, you do realize that was just a fake, right?
Yeah, and they need to quit screwing around and finally get that done.
So I'd like to bring up something that I caught on the various news feeds. Not nudes feeds, no. News feeds of Gamescom 2016. And that is Star Citizen, which we try not to bring this subject up a lot because it's fairly controversial. But personally, I'm very much a follower of the Star Citizen's going to crash and burn and it's one big hoax camp. But looking at the 3.0 version they showed at Gamescom, I'm quite impressed. I'm starting to think that maybe they might actually be able to deliver what they're saying.
I just got to jump in there. You follow me on Twitter. I guess you saw the whole me accidentally having lunch with Star Citizen people. That was not intended and completely random. But they were actually quite proud of it. And someone started talking about how they were demoing and how you could see that it was real because somebody couldn't get back into the ship. Apparently they landed the ship, so the entry doorway thing was a little bit off the ground and therefore they couldn't jump in.
Yes, I watched that. I watched that video. They basically landed on a slope, and the rear ramp was opened in a way where it wasn't touching the ground, and the person couldn't jump high enough.
Yeah, I made the comment that sounded like a fun glitch that shows that, yeah, it's real. And boy, did the mood change when I used the word glitch. People were not happy.
Wait. Let me hear this right. You accidentally had luncheons with the developers of Star Citizen, yes?
Well, it's not just the developers. Star Citizen's first major outing was 4 years ago at Gamescom. And the story is that happened on the Friday. And then the Saturday after, some of the developers and some of the gamers randomly went to the beer garden at the Hyatt Regency to have lunch. And people found out and joined them. And then since then, every year, they've been going to that beer garden on the Saturday afternoon to have lunch. That was the beer garden I was sitting in and having my lunch Saturday as well. So I was just randomly surrounded by people in Star Citizen gear.
Okay, right. This is completely blown my mind. How the fuck do you have lunch in a beer garden? Beer gardens are meant for one thing, beer. Why are you eating food in a beer garden?
Because you shouldn't drink on empty stomachs.
This is Germany, Bam. They do everything in beer gardens.
I could elaborate what they did in the beer gardens in the 1920s and 30s, but I think that might spark a different kind of discussion.
Bam, what else are you supposed to have with your bacon if not beer?
Touche, my friend.
So, G, you had lunch with them. Anything interesting come out of that?
Oh no, I kind of sort of just kept to myself because they were having fun and discussing their game, and all I could do was just sit and listen and talk a little bit to some of them. But I was there to have my currywurst, which Ned from CCP didn't want to join me for because he was stuck in Iceland.
Iceland? Isn't he in Newcastle?
He's stuck in a third world country.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you vote to leave the EU. So, as I said, I was quite surprised by this because they basically showed a person waking up in his bunk on a space station in the middle of nowhere, going to his ship, getting with his co-pilot, taking off, flying across the star system, passing by another space station, going into a planet's atmosphere, landing on the planet, taking off again after having the person not be able to jump in for the first time, then going to an underground city, landing there, and then doing all sorts of shenanigans showing how the city works. Now, this slightly blew my mind because this is way more than I ever thought they'd ever be able to show before going bankrupt.
Well, isn't this the game where people are paying thousands of dollars just to have a virtual spaceship?
Yes. Apparently you can buy a virtual spaceship, which hasn't even been made yet because it's a pre-order for a virtual spaceship, for more than you could spend on the average car in the United States. Oh, I just wanted to point out that I'm actually quite impressed with Star Citizen now.
Speaking about pretend internet spaceships, G, there's also another game you can buy pretend internet spaceships from. It's called EVE Online. And you can fly those for just a low sum of $4,000-ish. Also, if you think about it, they're all spacey type games. And most spacey type games, apart from EVE Online, aren't doing very, very well. Look at No Man's Sky. Yeah? What a debacle that is.
I started out by being on the camp of, hey, No Man's Sky isn't the game we've all been promised, and it's way less than blah, 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 blah. But slowly but surely, I'm discovering things in the game that basically prove that a lot of the initial thoughts people had about the game were just due to the fact that they didn't do enough exploring. So yeah, lots is still not there. The game's not smart enough, and it seems to be aimed at a younger audience than originally intended, which brings down complexity. And things like freighters don't move, and you have less elements and all sorts of things. But I am actually finding that some mechanisms are still just as complex as promised. It just takes some more time of actually finding out what goes on the different planets.
Well, believe this or not, Grit, I'm actually on the party of, yes, the developers haven't been able to do it because it's like, what, a 15-man team and they've made such a massive freaking game? And it's a case of a lot of people are playing for like an hour, expecting all the glory to unfold, but yet nothing's happening. And yeah, you got to put some more time into the game for the gloriousness and deliciousness to hit you. If you look onto the internets now, or on the YouTubes and whatever have now, the main developer has said, yeah, we have DLCs that you don't pay for, so patches. He's then, backpedaled and said, yeah, you got to pay for the DLCs. So it's a lot of controversy around No Man's Sky. And I think, to be honest, a lot of Triple-A games are going to be going this way. They're not going to be complete. The initial reaction is going to be hugely negative. But over the course of, say, the game's going to become awesome. I put in front of you Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. After about a year, the game was fun, but for the first sort of month, 2-3 months, it was a horrid game. So, AAA title followers, beware. Beware. Also, EVE Online on the PS4. Yes, it's going to happen. It's a thing. It's going to happen.
Well, I think you may have taken one too many Newcastle drugs there.
Called bacon, dude. Bacon's gloriousness.
Yeah, well, you seem to be high on bacon if you think a game like EVE Online can actually hit a simplified console like the PS4. I'm not even talking about performance, I'm talking about controllability and whether it'll actually work, and I don't think it will.
If you think about it, right, EVE Online has been designed to operate on very, very weak systems. The PS4 isn't necessarily a weak system. Yes, it's a small system. Yes, it's very, very small compared to nowadays laptops and PCs and whatever have you. However, I'm pretty sure you can play EVE Online on the PS4. Look at a game free to play on the PS4 right now called Rebel Galaxy. If I didn't know any better, I say that was EVE Online.
Bam, no, again, I'm not talking about performance. I'm talking about the simple fact that I think let's not go for the starter ship in EVE Online, but a fairly standard, let's go for a cruiser level ship, which isn't too big, isn't too small. You can get there fairly quickly, even as a starting off player. Just for a cruiser, you would need something like 15 or 20 keyboard keys just to control the various modules and weapons and triggers and everything. That's way more controllability than you could ever have on an out-of-the-box PlayStation.
Oh, this is true. However, you can pair mice. You can compare a mouse and a keyboard. Pair a mouse and a keyboard to a PS4, and you've got all the controllability of a normal PC there.
You can, but Sony's vision is against games that require a keyboard on PS4. They're fine complementing a game with a keyboard if that works, but it should be completely playable with a controller.
Technicalities. You can't completely dismiss an issue just based on that technicality. Yes, they can say, you can do basic controls with a mouse, a keyboard, or controller, whatever have you. But to get the full experience, here's a Sony mouse and keyboard perfectly set up for this particular game, and then sell it as that. You see, marketing. For every problem, there's a beautiful opportunity waiting to be exposed.
Well, and I don't know that you would necessarily need a mouse and a keyboard for controlling a game like that. I know that Microsoft, one of the things they announced at Gamescom was that the game preview program, which is like an early access type thing for the Xbox One, is supposed to be coming to Windows 10 later this year. And the game that they're using to kind of push that out with is called Everspace, which is it looks like something like the old Freelancer or Free Space, but I mean it's a space flight game that you're flying around and shooting things. I don't know why you would need to have a keyboard and mouse, though I would prefer it myself.
Have you ever played EVE Online?
No, I have not played EVE Online.
Don't ever play EVE Online. It sucks the souls and distributes them amongst the players of us mere mortal men. Do not play EVE Online. It'll suck your soul.
Yeah, the only way of winning at EVE Online is by getting yourself to stop playing. Otherwise, it just ruins your life, sucks away any free time you have, and will usually leave you with no friends as well. Other than that, it's an amazing game. That's why these things happen. Which is why the only way of winning is pulling yourself away.
Grit, I play EVE Online. I've got loads of friends. I count you as a friend.
Yeah, well, I hope your other friends aren't the same as I am. Going back to the point, Draconis, EVE Online needs an obscene amount of keyboard controls.
I still disagree with that. EVE Online doesn't require a massive amount of keyboards. If you can map your keys correctly and play the game correctly, you need like, what, max? 8 keys?
It doesn't sound like you've been in too many battles.
I've been in many battles. Many I've won. That's why I don't need 15 bloody keys when 8 will do.
Well, it sounds like it's just a difference in play styles.
Well, I guess we can disagree there, but thinking of EVE Online and CCP, G, how was your CCP experience at Gamescom?
Well, as we said early on, they were hiding in the business area where I couldn't get to them. Haha. But I did actually find the E-Valkyrie area, which was in Hall 7, along with all the other PlayStation VR stuff. And yeah, I dropped by a couple of times basically because going from hall to hall, and I was there 2 days. At pretty much no point were anybody playing E-Valkyrie. You could see that they had... From the outside, you could see 4 demo stations. I think inside as well, there were 4 demo stations that you could see. Even if you walked up to the exit on that side, you could look in and see that there was nobody playing it. And I have a couple of pictures that just shows, here's E-Valkyrie. It's empty. Right next to it was the Resident Evil area for the PSVR, and 3 times as big and usually full of people. So I don't know what was going on, but even when I got in to try it, I had pre-booked an appointment with Sony, and you can find it also right now on Twitter and everything, where you can book to go out to a demo tour Sony's doing, at least around Europe. They'll be here in Brussels next week and going across England as well. Sign up and you can basically see when they'll be in your town, in whichever store to demo the thing, and they included Germany as well. And in their eternal wisdom, you actually had to have a German account to be allowed to sign up. Very smart, since people from all over the planet, more or less, were at Gamescom, but only the German ones could sign up for this. But I did my 20 minutes of waiting to actually come in to the time slot that I had signed up for, and wasn't allowed to try out E-Valkyrie. It was just, yeah, no, here's another demo. So I tried PSVR at least, and right off the bat, the best insight I can give is go out, sign up for one of these if you're thinking about buying PSVR. My impression was that it wasn't good. I know we know people who come out and say, yeah, the PS4 can handle VR, etc., blah blah. The first thing I was noticing was my glasses didn't fit inside the PSVR headset. So no matter what you do, I need my glasses to see something, but I couldn't have them on properly. They would be at an odd angle inside the headset just to fit. That's a no-go. That's already there. It's a failure.
Yeah, but wouldn't you be able to use the headset without glasses?
I didn't even try because my eyesight is fairly bad. I might be able to, but others definitely won't be. There are people who will need their glasses to be able to see it.
Well, I guess it depends on the type of lens you need to use.
Lens or no lens, the PSVR needs to have the adaptation for glasses. I know when I keep playing over at 1.5s, I keep having the issue of the Oculus pressing into my glasses and then actually hurting my face because it's been pressed in so long. The PSVR needs to consider this because the majority of the PSVR players, I imagine, are going to have glasses because, geeks. Believe it or not, I really do think Sony needs to get a handle on this very, very quickly. I don't actually believe you until I see those pictures that nobody wants to play E-Valkyrie on the PSVR. E-Valkyrie is an awesome game. However, if you think about it, almost half the market that are going to use the PSVR are going to have glasses. And if it's anything like the Vive or the Oculus, they're going to push the glasses so far into your head, it's going to become your own freaking lenses anyway. So they need to get a handle on that and get an adaptation to actually make people who wear glasses feel comfortable. That's the problem I've got with the Vive and the problem I've got with the Oculus. And I was really, really hoping that the PlayStation VR had that sort of forethought. You know, because of the way the headset flips up and down instead of being strapped to your face like a strappy thing. So yeah, they need to get a handle on that very quickly. And I swear to God, G, I need to see pictures because I don't believe it when it comes to people who are playing VR, EVR, because EVR is awesome!
EVR, well, you slightly out of date.
I didn't say nobody wanted to play it. I said nobody was playing it. When I did my queuing, I wasn't even offered it. I wasn't allowed to play it. I was directed straight over to another demo. There wasn't even an option there. I got the impression they weren't particularly keen on demoing it, but nothing concrete. And I have another time slot with Sony on the coming Wednesday, the 24th. And I'm going to be very insistent on playing E-Valkyrie, just to try it out.
Be very insistent to play E-Valkyrie because that game is good. It's a very good game. It's a little light on content, yes, fair play. And there is some things that need to be fixed, but believe it or not, the Valkyrie guys are working their fingers through the frickin' bone, or to the bone rather, to get these bits and pieces fixed and sorted. It is a cracking game made by brilliant people. That's all I've got to say about that. And if Sony are actively shooing them away from EVR, there's obviously something more to it.
Well, there could have been some technical difficulties during that day or something.
Oh yeah, it just like a myriad of things could have gone wrong, mate. Horribly, yeah.
Yeah, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt, but as I didn't really see, I saw one or two playing it. It wasn't never anybody, but most of the time it was empty as far as I could tell. The times that I walked by, at least. We know that, was it Friday or Saturday, that they put out a call for people to come play. They had taped off yet another area. The main area around PSVR, there was a 3.5 hour queue just to sign up to get a time slot to play. They made another area that looked to be about a 2-hour queue where people were standing in to try PSVR. And that seems to have coincided with the call out for more people to come play E-Valkyrie. I saw recently a developer come out and say that the PS4 can definitely run VR, but I'm assuming an event like Gamescom, Sony's putting their best foot forward. They're not going out with shite. They're going out with what they can do to sell their console and to sell their headset, right?
Yes. That would make sense.
Now, let me tell you the story of the demo they showed me. One thing was getting the headset on, and bam, you're right, it tilts up and down. Which means if it isn't tilted just right, it gets blurry and awkward. It has to be fitted perfectly. The picture that I was seeing was grainy. It wasn't screen door effect, possibly because it was moving too much that I couldn't see the screen door effect. I know a lot of people have been complaining and worrying about that. But it was grainy and it was blurry. Blurry might come from my glasses not being able to fit properly, but that wouldn't account for that amount of blur. It wasn't good.
Well, I will say this. A while ago, I had a very brief demo of PSVR, and this wasn't completely a public thing or completely organized. But one thing I did notice is that it seemed to be of a lesser display quality than the Oculus at the time. Now, this isn't anything specific. It's not the resolution or sharpness or anything like that. I can just say, in general, it felt of a lesser quality. That's the general impression I had. So there could be merit to this.
Believe it or not, Gert, I actually agree with you there.
Yeah, I've been being a bit of a dick and pointing out that 20 years ago VR sucked, so VR's gonna suck now. I know that's not the case. It has improved. But the graininess and blurriness that I was experiencing was worse than I would have expected.
That kind of, it surprises me a little bit, and it is very disappointing too, just because just last night I got a chance to try the Samsung Gear VR, and for a cell phone, I was pretty impressed with the quality on that. So I can't say how that would compare to the PSVR, but the things that I had heard, at least seen online, people seem to be saying good things about the PSVR, but if it's blurry or grainy and whatnot like that, that's a little disappointing.
Allow me to get a little bit further into this then. The demo they showed me was one where you're sitting in a minecart underground in I guess it's a haunted house kind of setting. You're handed a couple of guns, so you have move control in each hand. They tracked worse than some of the stuff I've seen on PS3. So I think the developers who made this were sloppy. I mean that quite literally. On the PS3, if I use my sharpshooter, the reticle is steady and it's there and it's perfect. In this game, you could see the shotguns wiggle a bit, and they weren't tracking properly.
Wait. You're telling me you tried out PSVR and you didn't try the Batman game?
Again, I didn't have an option to go on with this haunted house experience thing they were showing me. So I was in, I guess, a minecart on tracks, and the first thing you kind of notice is render distances are kept to an absolute minimum. Yeah, that's for the whole haunted house, everything has to stay dark thing, but it played in nicely that the shorter a render distance, the less GPU power you would really need. Any object that was in the demo were large, and they were very low polygon. There was some pigs wriggling, and they were very sharp-edged, and it wasn't what you would expect of a PS4 if you were looking at it on a TV screen. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't good. It wasn't impressive. And then, you are in this minecart that slowly drives forward. The 3D effect was awesome. The whole, when it looked like you were driving down a slope, worked really well. Looking around, aiming around, it was kind of nice just being able to point your hand in a direction, pull a trigger, and you shoot at whatever was there. That worked well. So the mechanics worked well. But visually, graphically, it was really underwhelming. But again, looking at how the move controllers were glitching and not stable, this looked like it was a case of developers perhaps not having been quite having enough time to do their job. So how much of this is just design, that they wanted this haunted house effect and they just want to keep things simple? How much of it was budget? How much of it was effort that was put into it? And how much came down to the hardware, I can't say, hence going back and trying more things. But the notion that they would show this as putting their best foot forward, using this to convince a person to buy a PSVR, right now I would say I wouldn't buy a PSVR, based on what they've purposefully shown me.
Well, that seems really disappointing to me to hear that you didn't even have a choice. I mean, I would expect most people going there would have gone for the same reason that I had mentioned for the Batman VR, but to show up to check out the PSVR and not be given any choice as to what you're getting to see, that's really disappointing.
Yeah, and I mean, there were people playing rigs, and there were some that were waiting. They point out they wanted to try rigs, so they were kept back in the line to try that out. When I was there, for some reason, nobody was playing the Resident Evil demo. I don't know what had happened, but that was apparently taken offline. Whether it was just because, luck of the draw, I got somebody who didn't care, just go here, sit there, try this, or whether they were trying to steer people to specific experiences or what, I don't know. I barely saw anybody looking like they were playing the Batman VR thing. I don't even know if it was on the list, just thinking back. I saw people with Batman ears. That was the closest I can really recount.
Sounds like they may have been holding that back for larger press entities, because I did see one or two videos online of people actually playing it.
Yeah. I was staying at a pretty nice hotel, which happens to be the hotel that all the big people, all the big bosses from the various companies were staying at. And I also stayed at the club level, which is, again, the place you want to stay. So the first night, Thursday night, basically, I did overhear a conversation between a group of people who were there as exhibitors who tried Farpoint. And really, one of them were raving about how good the whole experience was and how awesome the controller was. This new sharpshooter version 2 that looks like a lollipop thing. That it was really good. So I'm hopeful there might be good experiences, but my takeaway overall is go try the damn thing. Sign up for the demos, go and try it, point out what it is you want to try, and be honest that you want to have a good experience.
Believe it or not, you know what it sounds like to me? To me, it sounds like that the PSVR experience, is being saved back for the higher press entities. And I apologize for my daughter. She just had a measles shot, and we can hear this. I'm very clingy right now, so she's come to dad. So, anyway, the PSVR is a budget headset.
Oh yeah, it is the budget option. I mean, comparatively. A full package is about 500 euros for the headset, the camera, the controllers. Whereas you're looking at, 800 euros on the other options. So, it has an advantage there. You can run it off a PS4, which is 400 euros, as opposed to a PC where you need a 400 euro graphics card plus the rest of the PC. I'm not expecting this to be the best option, quite to the contrary. I'm expecting this to be the worst option outside of cell phones. but I'm expecting it to be serviceable, and my impression was that it wasn't.
Yeah, you see, I think what a lot of the issues with gamers nowadays have, particularly with Triple-A titles and new equipment coming up for the consoles, is that they fall into the hype. They become sheep, and then they believe the hype, and it's going to be the most awesomest experience since, games were ever invented. And turns out it's not the case. I think everyone's getting their hopes up for what could be an awesome game, only to have them ripped away in a horrid nightmare. And turns out it's a budget headset made with budget stuff to keep the cost down as far as possible, which, to be honest, isn't really my issue. My issue is the false advertising, particularly when it comes to games like Battlefield 1. They are slating it to be another awesome, epic, amazing first-person shooter, when I know for a fact DICE and EA have a history of falling down by the wayside when the new games launch. Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Hardline, the little test we had with the PSVR thanks to some friends of ours. And yeah, going back to it, it was quite grainy, very grainy if you compare it to the Oculus and the Vive, which we also compared. And yeah, the PSVR is, not as good, but you're only paying, a third of the price for it? So you've got to expect some sort of quality drop.
Well, I mean, of course, I would expect the PSVR not to be quite up to the same specs as the Oculus Rift or the Vive, but I would have thought that it should be better than a cell phone. It should be better than the Samsung.
Well, on that one, actually, there was, I guess all of us have at one point or another played Warthunder, which is a pretty good game. They actually have a VR thing going now. And at their booth, I was amazed to see another company demoing a VR option where you use your cell phone as the VR headset for a computer.
My brother-in-law was the one who let me use his Samsung headset, and he said that's what he does. He actually uses the Samsung phone, plugs it into his computer through a USB cable, and will play computer games that way.
Precisely, and that was how they were demoing Warthunder. It looked pretty good. I mean, again, we're talking about very basic quality and having not just a screen, but a battery strapped to your nose, or to nose bridge over your nose. That's not optimal, but hey, it seems like a nice cheap way. If you have a nice Samsung phone anyway, that was quite impressive.
Well, I know it might sound like a lot to have or maybe a lot of weight on the headset, on the bridge of your nose, but when I was wearing it last night, it was pretty comfortable. And after a while, I still noticed it a little bit, but it wasn't something that I felt took away from the experience. But the only thing that got tiring for me was that the control for the games that I was playing on the phone was on the right-hand side of the headset. So, after playing for 30 minutes, holding your arm up the entire time, your shoulder starts to get a little tired of doing that.
Oh yeah, I think everybody's favorite pirate, Yo Jolly Roger, pointed out, get a Bluetooth controller. Just any Bluetooth controller can do it. Use that instead.
Warthunder, dude, is a great game. Wargaming.net is a great game. I love those sorts of games. Wargaming.net is actually a development company, but, they make great games. I love the tank games. I love the airplane games. And soon it's going to be battleships. Yay, battleships! I'm definitely going to be in Her Majesty's Royal Navy, sailing on the HMS Hood. And clearly my daughter agrees, yeah.
Oh yeah, I tried to see if I could talk Carbide from Wargaming into showing me, what do they call it, that warship game thing? The ship version of World of Tanks, World of Warships? But he seemed to be busy, so I didn't bother.
World of Tanks, World of Warships, World of Planes. Warthunder, tanks, warships, planes. Very, very good. The only difference is the different types of gameplay. And if I get bored of World of Tanks, I go to Warthunder tanks. If I get bored of Warthunder tanks, I go to, Warthunder planes. If I get bored of the plane part, I just switch up. Whenever I get bored of whichever one I go to. And what really brings it home for me when I play Warthunder is I keep on looking for a particular name. Chicken Wing! Gotta find him, gotta shoot him all the time.
Don't think you'll find him in Warthunder.
No, man, World of Tanks. I look for him in World of Tanks all the time. I keep playing the West Coast servers just so I can find him and shoot him, even though I lag like a mother.
Well, earlier, G, you had mentioned that you spent most of your time circulating through the indie developers. Was there anything else that you found there that you thought you want to bring up?
That's the problem. We could do a full episode just if I'd had Bam and a camera in there. We would have done an episode just running around talking to people. It was awesome, and it was such a better experience than, as I said, PlayStation VR had a 3-hour plus queue. Titanfall 2 had a half-hour queue when I was there, but most of the time it was 1.5 hour. Go up to the indie area, and the moment you just stop and look at a game because it looks interesting, the developers are there, they want to talk, they want to show off their game. Not as in, I need somebody to talk to, but they are so fond of their own games. They're so pleased with what they've done. They're so eager to get feedback on it. It's a really good experience. As a gamer, I think that's awesome. And incidentally, we might be having some of them on in the coming episode. There was quite a few people who were impressed that there would be even a dingy little podcast like us coming up to talk to them.
What the hell have you done, G? God have mercy on their souls for coming onto this shitty podcast.
I agree. But I mean, it was everything from awesome computerized board games to little story games to, I guess that's more Draconis. Do you remember Star Fox?
Yes.
Yeah, there's somebody made a game that's basically the multiplayer version of Star Fox, but set around a spherical world instead of a flat map. And that was hilarious. It was freaking difficult to kill things, but I kept winning for some reason. And it was just, that was good fun. And some random little 2-person developer team had made that and actually went to Gamescom, travel internationally to show it off. And they loved that people would come up and play it. That was just a great experience.
Well, and that's one of the cool things I think I've discovered by going to some smaller conventions. And it sounds like you basically found a smaller section within a larger convention that the people that have something there to share and to show, they're not part of the huge crowd, the big names like EA and Sony and whatnot. So not everybody is flocking there, but you actually get to spend some time talking with these folks about the game that they've built, and they have that kind of passion. That's really cool. I'm glad you got to do that.
Oh yeah, my comparison is I could sit 3 hours in a queue to try one game amongst all the Triple-A's, or I could spend 3 hours just playing one game after another in the indie area. Gee, I wonder what I want to do. And, for example, the Star Foxy copy clone thing, really nice sharp controls. When I went to play Titanfall 2, I suspect it might have been interference because of wireless controllers, but it felt really clunky and laggy, like you would move the stick to move your aim, and it was like a tenth of a second later then it would start moving. It was noticeable lag in it. So,
Well, you don't want to get me started on Titanfall 2 anyway. They're started doing their multiplayer beta this weekend, but they're only doing it for consoles. Pricks.
And that comment was sponsored by PC Master Races.
Yeah! Suck it, boy!
Haven't we been waiting long enough to get that damn game?
Yeah, you had the Titanfall game on PS4. We didn't have Titanfall. It was only on Xbox and PC, so... And I think everywhere except at the Xbox, because the Xbox had a demo for Titanfall. EA or whoever the hell it is, yeah, it was EA. They had a demo for it, and then Sony had their demo for it. Only the Xbox one were using Xbox. Everything else was using PlayStations.
I downloaded and tried that out on the PS4. I just went through the initial training simulator because I knew there was no way in hell I was going to survive very long in multiplayer using a controller. But the controls felt a little clunky to me too.
Yeah, it might just be that's how they want it. Every game should have their own feel, their own tactile responsiveness. It's just, it didn't work for me, and quite fairly, I went 0-9 in the round I played. And we had queued for, I think just under half an hour, 25 minutes perhaps. When we got in, they let 6 people in at a time. There were 4 rows of 6, and I guess they were just cycling. I played one match, took my headset off and went, this isn't for me, and got ready to leave. And the 5 people that I had arrived with, because I was at the edge of the table, they went, oh, it's time for us to leave, and they all followed me out. It's kind of like, hey, you guys could have stayed in and played some more, I think.
Maybe they had enough too.
Might be.
If you think about it, the PS version of Titanfall has probably been ported straight across from the Xbox version. And the Xbox One, we all know, is clunky and slow. So there we go. There's your excuse why the game's clunky and slow, because it was on Xbox first.
Yeah, it might be. But as I said, it might simply be something as stupid. That was my impression, and Draconis seems to think that it might actually be the game. But the amount of wireless interference that would be in a place like this, the amount of wireless networks people had set up even just to record things for Twitch, that was quite bad. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some of that there.
I don't want that Xbox One fill festering on my PS4. Keep it on the Xbox One.
A cute little one. I went over to Calypso Media. They have, it's a little German company that does smaller games, but they're making, what's it called? Vikings, Wolves of Winter or something, which is a hack and slash action RPG thing. Nice game, cute little thing. Played well right up until the PlayStation crashed.
They crashed the PS4? What? You gotta do a lot to make a PS4 crash. God.
I'm guessing it's just because this wasn't, it's not a release-ready game. It's coming out sometime next year. I was going, hey, can I get in and try it? Oh yeah, sure. Apparently they didn't see that I brought my energy drink with me. They kind of went, whoops, afterwards. But yeah, playing it went well and suddenly just died on me. Probably because it wasn't a quite ready version yet.
Just between you and me, G, what you really did is spilled your energy drink all over their PS4, and that's why it crashed. Let's be honest here, you broke their game. Or, better yet, their PS4.
Dude, that was a free energy drink. Why would I throw that away?
Well, I saw a little bit about that one on Steam, and I gotta say, it looks pretty good. I've got it on my wish list for when it comes out.
Oh, definitely. Calypso was also one of the interesting ones. Similar to how Sony had their pre-register to queue to register to play things, Calypso actually had a reach out where people could come and stream their games straight from a setup they made. So you just needed your Twitch key, you would type it in, and then you could live stream their games. I, though, did not get access to it because they never replied, and there was a little bit of chaos going on there. But awesome idea.
Well, at least one other game I saw that I've kind of had on my list, keeping my eye on for a while, that they were demoing there was Shadow Warrior 2, which is it's a first-person perspective, and you switch between like melee weapons like swords and whatnot, and shooting in and out of modern-day environments to like this. They were showing off a little bit of a demonic-type environment. That one, I've been waiting for it. It looks pretty cool. The commentary from the character as he's, running around hacking and slashing things is pretty funny. Did you get a chance to see anything like that?
I didn't. It might have been hidden somewhere. One of the headaches with this thing is it's several huge halls full of stuff, and you can easily find Ubisoft and all the big things. I think Ubisoft had probably the biggest stands. I used to have it all. But finding anything that is smaller is it's impossible.
Well, I will say, I think my biggest disappointment for you that I feel so bad that you missed out on was the Nautilus Rift. I was really hoping you were going to get a chance to try that out. I would have loved to have heard your reaction to it.
Dude, I know what a fart smells like. I don't need to have that demo to me, but I kid you not. I walked past a couple of times. The queuing area for that thing was full all the time. People they lined up chairs and just sat there.
That just seems hilarious to me that people would line up to get farts blown in their face.
Hell no, I'm not trying that. I'll give you my best experience. The hotel. Sorry, it's fun to be at the conventions, but the Hyatt Regency club level, all the white wine and stuff that you can drink, free minibar, that was the best part of the whole trip.
Wait. So you tell me the best part of the whole trip wasn't Gamescom, it was the hotel you stayed at? God, look at our dollar going down the tube because G-Talk wants to stay in a fancy pants restaurant. God.
Yeah, next time you need to send me.
Yeah, we'll put you up in a 76. There we go.
Yeah, I think I should probably say thank you to Freightliner, because it's basically because of them that I had a pile of bonus points or whatever you call them for Hyatt, and I just used them for that trip. And imagine my surprise when I told the concierge that, I'd signed up for a regular room, but I contacted them by email if I could upgrade. And he just looked at me and said, oh yeah, we have you on the 6th floor. It's all okay. Whoa, thank you. Not complaining.
Okay, so free upgrade. Lucky bugger. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I kind of missed out because, I'm slightly handicapped, as Grip pointed out. But Friday, there was just Warhorse Studios. There was the Eve Meet. There was basically parties all over the place. And I didn't go to any of them. I'm so sorry. But if anybody goes to these conventions, I can strongly recommend just check out the Friday nights. They are awesome.
Yeah, I've got a big bone to pick with you about that one. You didn't go to the Wargaming get-together. You didn't go to the EVE online get-together. What the bloody hell were you doing? God.
Let's see, Friday night, that was Champagne. Yeah, I should probably have gone to some of them. For some reason, I guess it's because everybody else booked way before CCP did, but the EVE meet was far away. It was like out in the boonies.
Germany has boonies? Germany's grey and full of square things. How does Germany have boonies?
You're thinking East Germany, and although that's more algae green. No, Köln is a nice place, dude. Go check it out.
It's gonna be grey with grey. In fact, I think Germany is the Canada of Europe. Square wheels, square buildings, square cars, flappy heads. Yeah, I think Germany is the Canada of Europe. There we go.
No, I'm thinking Germany is the America of Europe.
No, that's Britain, bro. Or should I say England, after Brexit.
So you decided to break shit and now you're American. Makes sense.
Well, there we go. Basically, throw your toys out the cot like an American, and then you get what you want. Oh, I'm moving to Scotland, by the way. Yeah, freedom! Best pirate Scotsman there ever was.
So I guess that's pretty much all the experiences we had. I mean, running around talking to a lot of people, there should be some things coming out soon with that. It was fun trying out a lot of different games. It was fun also trying out the Triple-A games, but frankly, you don't want to hear me talk about playing, Triple-A games, because there's all the usual alphas and betas, and Titanfall 2 you can play right now this weekend while we're recording, but I guess once this comes out, it's too late to try it. I will add in some videos, some links to it for everybody so they can check it out, but overall, it was a good trip, and I definitely recommend people go there, especially if you're into things like cosplay, because today, earlier today, as we're recording Sunday, they had the cosplay contest. There's a whole area just set aside for showing off costumes and getting your costume repaired if something goes wrong. Having people who are experts in making costumes helping you out and getting tips and showing tricks. Basically, they really took a lot of time out and effort out to help with that whole area. So people who are into cosplay, it's also one of the events over here in Europe that's worth going to. It's one of the bigger ones for that concept.
To be brutally honest, G, I'm very glad you went to go see the indie developers, because a lot of these indie games need some exposure, even though it's through us, which is a very, very small podcast and a very, very small channel, as long as they get some exposure. And some of the indie games we've looked at, like Cosmic Picnic and so on, those games are bloody brilliant. And they're made by people that are also bloody brilliant. And I'm glad you went for and specifically aimed for the indie games. Oh yeah, AAA games are cool as well, and it's a bit of a pity that you didn't get to see and play some of them the way you wanted to play them. But hey, indie games was my focus for you to go ahead and get, and you did it. Well done, G. Well done.
Yeah, now it's just a question of figuring out where you and Draconis go.
Oh, dude, I'm moving to Scotland, so yeah, indie games conventions up in Scotland, I'll be there.
Just get me a press pass for E3, man. I'm in.
Actually, PAX Prime is coming up to Seattle. You live in Seattle. Get tickets, bro.
No, I live in San Diego. I'm on the southern part of the continent, not the northern part.
It's still the same part of the world, isn't it? You're in America, yeah? Go to Seattle, go. Yeah, America isn't very big.
I guess that depends on your perspective, but yeah.
If I may, it should be out now. Go to the PlayStation 4, look for a game called Amello. Amello. That looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun, and the developers, nice and Australian, they definitely sold the idea. It's a little bit of playing a board game on a console where you have to kind of compete with your friends, and I think it's up there with Monopoly and losing your friends. Beyond that, I'll make sure there's some links to some of the other games and some of the content we looked at. It's just there's so much more fun in that area than, Battlefield 4, 5, 7, whatever.
Battlefield, we forget what number to call it.
Either way, this is your handicapped host, G, and I'll try to make it there next year as well. Thanks for listening.
So, our listeners, thank you for listening to me. And my fellow co-hosts, thank you for being here with me and tolerating me. And we'll see you again.
Yes, guys, and from me, Bam Havoc, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. I'll see you all next time. Apologies for my dearest darling daughter, who might be heard in the clips that Draconis is going to be editing, and you can hear her hiccuping in the background. Yay! Right, guys, much love. Out. Cheers, bye!
Oh, well, I'm sure she'll show up in the recording. Sometimes some of the things she said were more interesting than what you had to say.
Cookie, damn straight. more insightful than rather the drunken ramblings of her old, cynical, fat old dad.
And speaking of drunken ramblings, this is Draconis from San Diego. Stay classy, interwebs.